Syracuse football should dominate Colgate on Friday night.
You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer. Thank you for making us your first listen of every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day, and we are always free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And on this week's Poll Friday, we're actually doing it on Thursday because Syracuse football takes on Colgate on Friday night inside the Dome at 7 p.m. Eastern. And this week's question was, what is an acceptable outcome for Syracuse football? We'll go over that in just a moment. Later on in the show, what are the goals for Syracuse in this game? Plus, I'll be giving my prediction for this matchup. So I turn it over to you. What is an acceptable outcome for Syracuse football versus Colgate on Friday night? Well, the results are in. Let's get to the choices, though, first. Win by 30 or more, win by 20 to 29, win by 10 to 19, or just beat Colgate. That's it. That's acceptable enough. Just beat Colgate. As I said, though, the results are in. There were over 200 votes on this week's Poll Friday on Thursday edition. In first place, about 50% of you said win by 30 or more. In second place, win by 20 to 29. In third, just a win would be acceptable enough. And in fourth, win by 10 to 19. My thought, the acceptable outcome for Syracuse football versus Colgate, obviously priority number one is to win the game. We'll go over that later on in the show. But total domination should be expected. So therefore, win by at least 30 points if you are Syracuse football. Let's talk about Colgate for just a moment. We really haven't been talking about Colgate all that much on this show this week because most of it has really been about Syracuse and playing an FCS opponent. Let's talk about Colgate here. Colgate, FCS opponent, but not only are they an FCS opponent, they are an 0-2 FCS opponent. They have a 3-point loss to Monmouth and a 7-point loss to Villanova this season. And I can acknowledge that Monmouth and Villanova, according to the latest coaches poll for the FCS, are actually really good FCS programs right now. They are each ranked inside the top 20. But Colgate, even though they kept it close with top 20 FCS teams, they did not receive a single vote in the latest coaches poll for the FCS. Not one. So not only is Syracuse football going up against an FCS opponent, they are not even going up against a good FCS opponent. 0-2, not a single vote by a coach in the latest coaches poll. So Syracuse football should go out there on Friday night and absolutely dominate Colgate and win this game by at least 30 points. I think for me, just on the surface, that would be an acceptable outcome for Syracuse in this matchup. Maybe you agree with me. Maybe you disagree with me. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, coming up, we'll go over the goals for Syracuse in this game. Plus, I'll be giving my prediction. So stick with me here on Locked On Syracuse. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. And for Syracuse football, their big comeback victory over UConn last Saturday, I am going with Justice Ross Simmons after he had 2 late touchdowns for the Orange. Justice Ross Simmons delivered for Syracuse football, and DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your favorite team or just keeping an eye maybe on your fantasy lineup. FanDuel, it's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sundays, or just maybe take your mind off the fact that the New York Jets still stink. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You could choose to get out there, choose your people. You could choose to go for it, like really go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. What are the goals for Syracuse in this matchup? Well, there's two of them. Number one for Syracuse, just win the game. To put it this way, similar to last week versus UConn, but on a much greater scale. If Syracuse football were to lose to an FCS opponent, which they have never done in its program history, their season's done. It's over. For the next 6 weeks, we will not be talking about Syracuse football anymore on this channel. They are not going to lose to Colgate, but let's just put it this way. Just win the game. As much as we can sit here and say last year was not very good because they didn't dominate Holy Cross enough, at the end of the day, they just have to win so they can just move on, okay? Get your free win, move. That's goal number one. Once you take care of that, you can move on to goal number two, which is to go up as much as possible and as early as possible if you're Syracuse football. Most, if not all, of Syracuse's starters should be out of this game by some point in the third quarter, some point early in the second half. This is a game where if you're Syracuse, you want to see as many players as possible get game action, get that game experience. And it's not just because we've talked about this already, that it's Colgate and it's a nice opportunity. It's a nice soft landing for potentially some young players to get their first ever collegiate action potentially. It's not just about that. It's also because after Colgate, Syracuse football has its full ACC slate ahead of them. And their one non-con game that will remain after Colgate is a trip to South Bend, Indiana to take on Notre Dame. So if you are Syracuse football, you want your starters in this game for about a half, take care of business, then get them out, get them rested, get them as healthy as possible, because the following week, you got Clemson on the road. Okay, no need to struggle versus Colgate this week. All right, so those are the two goals for Syracuse. Just win the game. And number two, go up as much as possible, as early as possible, so Syracuse can play as many players as possible. Now, as far as a prediction for Syracuse football versus Colgate, I have Syracuse winning by a lot. I have Syracuse in total dominating fashion, winning this game 51-10. Comment your prediction in the comment section below. Do you think that Syracuse is going to win by at least 30? I love your thoughts in the comment section below. As far as what's coming up on this podcast here in the near future, well, next podcast will be on Friday night because Syracuse takes on Colgate at 7 p.m. Eastern, and there will be a full post-game reaction podcast. Then on Saturday, we will have the Syracuse-Colgate fan reaction podcast. Probably not going to do a podcast on Sunday, but then we'll be back on Monday with big picture takeaways following this game. Folks, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this podcast, be sure to hit that like button. If you really enjoy the podcast, be sure to hit subscribe. Tell all your friends about Locked On Syracuse. and I will see you all again soon.